Dear students of class 9A and 9B, today, previous one lesson, I am going to re-explain. Lesson number 3, Jainism and Buddhism. Although few parts are left of Industrial Revolution, only 2 points which were left from Industrial Revolution I have completed. And now the revision of this lesson, causes for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. Now what are the what are the causes? What factors led to the rise of Jainism and Buddhism? There are certain factors which led to the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. You know, number one, the corruption in practice, the corruption in religion. You know, when the Jainism before this religious concept was known to the people, there was another religion, that was Vedic religion. Vedic age was there. During Vedic age, there was rigidity, influence of the priestly class people, Brahmanic people, rigid caste system also was there. But besides difficult language, people could not understand the mantras of the Brahmins, because the Brahmins knew only Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language was very hard language. People could not understand easily. So reaction of ritualism, the killing of animals, these were the rituals which were practiced by the Brahmins, and only rich people were allowed to take part in the yajunas, but not poor people, because poor people could not pay money and could not have any offerings for the Brahmins. So Brahmins, they were deprived of the blessings of the Brahmins, because Brahmins were considered as the representatives of God. That's why rich people always always offered valuable gifts for the Brahmins in order to have their blessings, but it was not possible to poor people. Another thing is that rigid caste system. Society was divided into 4 categories: Brahmin, Vaidya, Vaishya, and Sudras. So this classification in the society also had a great important factor. Persons one of the caste could not become a member of other caste. Naturally, there were restrictions on the basis of caste on food, using in toils, oils, drinks, marriage, intercaste and caste also was impossible. Besides, difficult language, Sanskrit language was very difficult to understand. Most of the Vedic literature was written in Sanskrit, and the Brahmins, they chanted mantras which were very hard to understand by the common people, which the common people found very difficult to understand. And not only that, many people began to look for an alternative language, alternative religion that could understand very easily, that they could understand better. Now, another factor, that is political situation. What is the political situation? In the 6th century AD, in 6th century BC, Magadha was ruled by Bimbisara and later by Ajatasattu, and they too were free from Brahminic influence, both of them, father and son. Both of them were free from Brahminic control, Brahminic influence, and condemned certain social evils. And ultimately, when the opportunity came, they patronized both Jainism and Buddhism. Who? Father and son. Who were they? They were Bimbisara and his son Ajatasattu. Now, another important factor which also led to the rise of Jainism and Buddhism, that was, economic development and development in the field of agriculture, or in short, agricultural economy. Killing of animals to perform sacrifices, yajunas, was against the interests of farmers. in the Gangetic Valley. The use of iron had made the animal drawn flying popular. That's why they remained busy with the animals. They did not want to let it be killed. Why? Because animals were utilized, animals were used in agriculture, and farmers needed a religion that would give protection to animals. Both Jainism and Buddhism preached non-violence and were against animal sacrifices. Naturally, these two new religious concepts, the concept of Jainism, the concept of Buddhism, was these two religion and religious concepts were accepted by the people, and people what they were expecting, they now became pleased because of this religious concept, which were these concepts which were totally dependent on depended on equality, depended on non-violence, and the people of the country, they cordially appreciated these two religious concepts, Jainism and Buddhism. Now, Jainism. What is Jainism? The doctrine of the Jains were praised by whom? By the saints. And saints or acharyas or tirthankaras. And 23 tirthankara preceded Mahavira. Mahavira was 23rd tirthankara. The first tirthankara was Rishideva, and 23rd was Parsvanatha. 23rd. And 23 Tirthankara preceded Mahavira. That means after Parsvanath, Mahavira became another personality who highlighted, who uplifted the traditional conservativeness and introduced a new religious concept and made this religious concept more and more acceptable to the people. And ultimately, Mahavira's contributions helped it to be popular throughout the whole parts of our country. But although it was not whole, we can't say, because it had not become as popular as Buddhism. Buddhism gained much more popularity than Jainism. Later on we shall discuss about it. But what was the reason? I shall also discuss. Now, for these deeds of Mahavira received the early education from his boyhood in his houses, and later on Mahavira also dedicated his life for humans' development. He left his house at the age of 30. And now, why did he leave his house, his family? He left his family in search of truth, in search of the purityness of mind. That's why this was done, in order to divert his attention from asceticism. At the age of 30, he left his house. And later on, Mahavira practiced different types of religious practices, which also encourage the people of the country to be his pupils, and ultimately they all became the followers of Mahavira one by one. They all became the followers of Mahavira. Now, what are the preachings of Mahavira? After becoming the Jina, Mahavira spent his life in preaching the new concept of Jainism, and afterwards he was an all-knowing personality, had a large number of followers, and he preached at various centers like Avanti, Kosala, Anga, Mithila, Champa, and Videhi and Vaishali. Lord Mahavira attained salvation at the age of 72 at Pavapuri in Bihar. But at the time of his death, He had about 14,000 followers. 14,000 followers. When he passed away forever, he his followers were about 14,000. Now, what are the main teachings of Jainism? The main teachings of Jainism, the five vows. The five vows are the main teachings of Jainism. Now, what are five vows? Number one, ahimsa means non-violence. Number two, asatya means not stealing. And number three, satya means not telling a lie. And number four, aparigraha means not possessing any property. And number five, brahmacharya means practicing chastity. So these are the five vows which were the main teachings and preachings of Mahavira. Mahavira emphasized on non-injury to living beings, especially to humans, animals, plants, and insects, and is important to Jain philosophy. These are the important to Jain philosophy. According to Mahavira, violence is of three kinds: physical violence, like killing, causing injury or pain; violence in words means harsh language; and mental violence, like ill will towards others. That is mental violence. Jains believe in the sanctity of life, or the right of every life of every living being to live. These doctrines came to be known as, or this doctrine regarded as, five vows, which every Jain is supposed to take. And next one, nine truths. There are 9 truths under the doctrines of Jainism. What are the 9 truths? There are 9 truths under the doctrines of Jainism. These 9 truths, besides the 5 vows, there are general doctrines of Jainism. Jains are expected to have the knowledge of 9 truths, each and every Jain. According to Jain philosophy, the knowledge of these 9 truths is essential, and only renunciation is the shortest way to salvation, according to the Jains. And these 9 truths have a central place in different ways. Philosophy of Jainism, 9 truths means, what are the 9 truths? The 9 truths are: jiva means living things, ajiva means non-living things, and then pujara means results in good deeds, and pap means sin, and asrav means good deeds, and then sanvar means hindrances in the way of karma, and bandha means bondage, and nirjara means destruction or karmas, and moksha means salvation. These are the nine truths of the concept of Jainism, introduced by Lord Mahavira and made it very much popular and acceptable to the people. Now, here I would like to discuss about the doctrines of Jainism. Number 1 doctrine of Jainism, Tirthankara, the Tiratnas. Tiratnas is one of the most important doctrine of Jainism. Mahavira praised that in this world, the ultimate goal of man is to attain freedom from worldly bonds to attain moksha, and it can be obtained by following Triratnas or 3 jewels. Now, what are the 3 jewels? Number 1, right faith; number 2, right knowledge; and number 3, right conduct. These were the 3 important mokshas, the 3 important jewels according to the Jains. And these three jewels inspire a true Jain to have faith in the 24 Tirthankaras. There are 24 Tirthankaras, but automatically the Jains should obtain knowledge of the 3 important jewels. These 3 jewels encourage them to be respectful towards the 24 Tirthankaras, who guided men, women across the river and acquire knowledge from their sermons and to lead a very good life. And next one, karma. What is karma? Karma means Jain philosophy. The Jains believe in karma, theory of Hinduism, and that one should be responsible for one's own karma or one's own action. That is karma, and good deeds alone liberate a man from the cycle of birth, cycle of life, cycle of death. And next one, equality. The Jains gave importance to the policy of equality. Everyone would be treated equally. There was no unequal treatment throughout the country. Everyone would be treated equally, for in the eye of law, in the eye of humanity, everyone would be treated. And he praised universal brotherhood. Who? Lord Mahavira praised for universal brotherhood. At the same time, he considered all men equally, irrespective of their caste, creed. Mahavira believed that the various deeds could achieve ultimate salvation or nirvana. Bitar, last point, another point that is very important for the concept of Jainism, that was eternal truth or eternal soul. Mahavira believed in the immortality of the soul. Mahavira said that the body dies but not the soul. The body dies but not the soul. The soul remains within ourselves, and it always remains with us in our actions, in our good deeds, and that's why soul never dies. But the body is ended. Our body is ended, but soul does not die. Soul remains there. And next one, salvation. What is salvation? In the beginning I told you, once again I repeat, salvation means, salvation, this concept was accepted by the Hindus, the Jains. They believe in moksha, means salvation. Why? Because of freedom. Everyone wants to be to lead a very independent life without depending on others. And freedom from the cycle of births and rebirths, that is very important. And this can be achieved only by leading an austere life based on non-violence and self-denial. That's why to attain salvation is an important thing, is very essential, is very necessary to practice the Triratnas, or right faith, right knowledge, and right action. And next one, believe in penance. Believe in penance. What is this? Jains believed in penance, to die or starvation, called santana, and so much stress on severe penance that very few people could lead such an austere life, but the Jains. And this explains why Jainism had few followers. Since very hard, it was some preachings and teachings of Jain, Lord Mahavira, were as hard, as hard that it could be very hard to practice. But that's why it is said that the explanation of Jainism, preachings of Jainism, made a very less number of followers. But till when he died, his nirvana had happened in the year 72. He left near about 14,000 followers. Up to those, my dear students. Thank you.